This month we'll be working on a solo arrangement of Amazing Grace for the high G ukulele. Now the tabs are going to be shown here on the screen as we work through it, but if you'd like access to the full PDF, be sure to check out my Patreon page, which is linked in the description below, where you can get that PDF as well as some other bonus content and lessons. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So to start here, we're going to actually pre-fret an F chord. And the way that we play an F chord is with our middle finger here on the second fret of the G string and our index finger here on the first fret of the E. Now, as you're playing this, one little tip is try to make sure that the fingers are close to the actual fret wire to make the fretting a little bit easier. If you're back here or in the middle, it can sometimes be more difficult to get a good sound, so getting right up to that fret wire can really help. To start though, we're going to play with our thumb on our strumming hand. We're going to pluck just the open C string, followed by just the E string. Now this right here is called a pickup bar, which is why it's shorter than all the other measures. So we're just going to play those two notes and immediately look to the next one. And this next one is technically the first measure or bar of the song. And to start it, we're going to play an F chord, but we're not going to play the A string. So we're going to strum through our G, C, and E strings together. Now a trick as you're strumming through there, it's okay for your thumb to go into the A string, just not pluck it. So I like to go right into that A to rest in so that I can get good control without trying to stop prematurely and just get right into that. So the first pickup bar into the first part of the first measure. Now at this point we're going to play the open A, and then we're going to release our middle finger off of the second fret of the G string to play the open G. Now what's really important here is whenever we're removing fingers, we want to make sure we're only removing the fingers we have to remove. So that index finger we actually want to leave here at 1 because we want it to continue to ring until we have to take it off. So again, that first measure starts with that F chord without the A string, open A, open G, 1 on the E, which is built in right there with that index finger. Now at this point we're going to play what's called an F7 chord. And the way that we do that is leaving our index finger here at 1, we're going to add back the middle finger on 2 of the G, and then we're going to take the ring finger and add it on the 3rd fret of the C string. So this is 2, 3, 1, 0. And we're going to strum all through the strings, all 4 of them together. Now the next note that we play is we're going to remove the middle finger, again leaving the other 2 fingers on because we only want to move strings when we have to. And we're going to play the open G. So now those first 2 measures and the pickup bar should sound something like this. Now going into the 3rd measure, we're going to take what we're already fretting, we're going to leave the index finger there. We're going to move the ring finger up 1 fret to the 3rd fret of the G string, and we're going to plant our middle finger on the 2nd fret of the C string. So we have 3, 2, 1. And we're not fretting the A string, and we're not going to be playing it either. So we're just going to play now our G, C, and E strings together using the same technique we worked on earlier. Then I'm going to play just the C string, still on 2. And then I'm going to go back to my F chord. And even though the next note that's written is just the 0 on the C, by building the chord early, I can set myself up for what happens immediately after. So I play the open C, and then I play through that F chord. And I play all the way through this time, including through the A string. Right, that F chord again is the middle finger on 2 of the G, and index finger on 1 of the E. So now the first little section of the song should sound something like this when played through. Now continuing here at measure 4, we're going to play the 0 on the C and the 1 on the E, which should be part of that F chord that we're still holding. And we're going to strum through the G, C, and E string, stopping at the A. Then we're going to play the A string, open, then the 1 on the E, and then we're going to play through all 4 again. So that should sound something like this. Now now we're going to take our ring finger, we're going to add it on the 3rd fret of the A string. Now for a lot of people, this is a pretty big stretch. Even though it's only 1 fret, it can be very difficult to get that ring finger in there. So what I recommend is, if it's a new stretch for you, to work on it just a little bit at a time. Try to hold it as long as you can. Well, not as long as you can. Hold it for a few seconds, shake out the hand, and repeat. If this stretch is too hard, getting that 3 on the A, it's okay to use your pinky finger here on the A string for right now to make sure that you're able to play it. But you want to work towards getting that stretch comfortable as you can. So we're going to play through now that 3 on the A along with the 2 and 1 on the G and E that we had before. So we're going to play the 3 on the A, and then we're going to remove our middle and index fingers and play through the C chord. Now you might wonder, well, why do I need to leave that 3 here if I'm going to just take off these fingers? And later in the song, we're going to need to have them still on, so it's good to develop the habit now. But it's okay, again, to use the pinky or the ring finger, depending on what's easier and more approachable right now. So play the 3 on the A, then play through a C chord, which we just take off our index and middle fingers. And now what we're going to do is place the middle finger on 2 of the A and play all through 4 strings. Then the index finger on the 1st fret of the A and play through all 4 again. So measure 6 and measure 7 should sound something like this. Now this next section we're going to play the open A, then the 3 on the A string, and now is where that terrifying F chord comes into play. So after playing the 3 on the A, we need to then add our middle finger on 2 of the G and index finger here on 1 of the E. Now this is where it's really important to start practicing that stretch, but it's okay to use that 3 with the pinky on the A string instead. And so if we play that there, or, then we're going to play the open A, so we remove that finger, then the open G, so remove our middle finger, and then 1 on the E, which should still be there, which is why we want to make sure we're only stripping away the fingers that we have to. Now we're on measure 10, and we're going to play the F7 chord, which we should still have that 1 from before, so we're going to add the middle finger on 2 of the G and ring finger on 3 of the C. We're going to play through all 4 there. Then we're going to take off the middle finger, play open G. And now we're going to play that B flat again, which we played earlier, which we take our middle finger, place it on 2 of the C, and ring finger, place it on 3 of the G, leaving the index here on 1. Don't worry about what the A string's playing, because we're not going to play the A string. We strum through, stopping at that A. Then we're going to play 2 on the C, which is already there. Then we're going to build our F chord again, and we're going to play open C, followed by a strum through all 4 strings of that F. So that whole section, starting with the F chord on measure, what is that, measure 9, should sound something like this. Now going into this next part, we'll play the 0 on the C, 1 on the E. Then we'll play the F chord, save the A string, open A, we'll take off the middle finger, open G, 1 on the E, which should still be there. And then this is the hardest part of the whole song. We're going to play a C7, but we're going to be playing a C7 with a melody note of an A, which means we play all open on our ukulele. How great is that? And then we're going to play the open G. And then we're going to play that B flat chord from earlier. So the 3, 2, 1. So ring finger 3 on G, middle finger on 2 C, index on 1 on the E. Play through that, save the A string, no A string being played. Then we're going to play the E string again. And then we're going to go back to the F chord, and we're going to play everything but the A string. Very good. So that end part should sound something like this. Excellent. So when you're working on this, it's okay to make sure that you're, practicing sections at a time. You can pretty clearly hear where it sort of starts and ends. And it's okay to focus on a couple measures at a time. For instance, I like to start from the beginning to all the way to halfway through measure 4, right? That's kind of the first little checkpoint that I like to think of with the song. And also, it's really important to trust your ear. When you're working and counting this and playing through it, it's okay to rely on your kind of preconceived sound of Amazing Grace as you're working through it. And sometimes that includes playing different notes than where listed and everything like that. It can be really fun to kind of tinker with a little bit, right? So I'm going to play through the whole thing now so that you can hear it. When you're playing all the way through the song, it's okay to build up a little speed, but it's also okay to take it a little slow because it's a song that's really subjective in terms of how it should be played. But I'm going to play it the way that I like to for right now. So here we go. Awesome. So again, if you'd like the full tab as well as access to other lessons and kind of exclusive content that's only available on my Patreon page, be sure to check that out in the description below. And I'll see you guys next month for another episode of this video tutorial series. I'll be doing a new video every month, and I'll be doing both advanced and beginner lessons. And so be sure to click subscribe so that you can make sure you see all of the different episodes I'll be doing here. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.